In this example, we're going to be looking at how do we find slope and y-intercept when given an equation in slope-intercept form. Before we get started, we want to make sure we know what slope-intercept form is, and then we'll answer the question. Slope-intercept form is considered y equals mx plus b, where m represents the slope. And again, slope can be written as a whole number, but it's always going to be considered as rise over run. So if you ever have a whole number, you'll just need to put that number over 1. And then this number b right here will be considered the y-intercept. Okay, x is always going to stay the same because that is going to be our marker for, or kind of like a notation of where we can always find slope. So slope is always the coefficient with the variable x. And then y is just the name of the equation. Sometimes you might even see it given as f of x, and we'll talk about that in a different video. Our given equation in this problem is y is equal to 3x minus 5. So according to what we just talked about, any coefficient with the variable x will be the slope. So right here you can see that 3 is with the x, so our slope is 3. You can also say it is 3 over 1. So whenever you get into learning how to graph in slope-intercept form, you're going to want to know the rise is 3 and the run is 1. Okay? The next thing we're going to talk about is the y-intercept. And again, the y-intercept is going to be the number that is a constant or by itself, just like b over here is by itself. So if you look, we have a 5, but you want to be very careful here because one thing you notice in front of the 5, there's a minus sign. And some students get a little confused about this. Even though it doesn't look like it's -5, it actually means a -5 because this equation, y is equal to 3x minus 5, could also be written as y is equal to 3x plus -5, according to subtracting integer rules whenever you add opposites. So your y-intercept for this given equation needs to be -5.